E komoa ku ho ia maloko, I nā ka upunui, o ahunela I e ai. He anu e ai, he anu e ai, he ko e vale noho, ai. E umau kia I mai ka pō mai, e nāna ia mai ka hale o ka ko. Kia I ia, malama ia, e pale aku I nā ho o piliko ka konohona, mai ka hikina ke ko mohana, mai ka uka ahe kai, mai I loko I waho, kia I ia, malama ia, e pale aku I nā ho o piliko ka konohona, a mamau ano aha e ai. Aloha e ano ai ke aloha e ai. It is finished.
Thank you. Mahalo, Zuzumo. Good morning. We are happy to welcome you to the second annual Hawaii Summit on Employment First. What a beautiful day for us to come together as a community and share this space. We would first like to acknowledge that we are gathering in the indigenous lands of Native Hawaiians, in the Ahupua'a of Waikiki, in the Moku of Kona, in the Mokupuni of Oahu, in the Pai'aina of Hawaii. We recognize that Queen Liliuokalani yielded the Kingdom of Hawaii under duress to the United States to prevent bloodshed. And we recognize that generations of indigenous Hawaiians have shaped Hawaii in a way that has allowed us to benefit from its gifts. Mahalo nui loa. I know many of you personally, and for those of you I don't know, I hope to meet you today. My name is Patrick Gartside. My visual description, I'm a Caucasian male with brown hair and a seemingly graying beard. I'm wearing a blue shirt and white and black pants. I serve as the chapter president of the Hawaii Association of People Supporting Employment First, or APSE. We are a grassroots movement of people focused on equitable employment for all people with disabilities. We believe that there is strength in a workforce that embraces diversity and inclusion. We believe that everyone has value to contribute to their communities. We believe that if people want to work, they should be supported in their pursuit. In May of 2022, a coalition of the willing formed our group. We are people with disabilities. We are job seekers. We are employment support professionals. We are teachers, educators, and we are employers. We are parents, brothers and sisters. We are loved ones. Our chapter has about 30 members, many of whom are here today, and some who attend our regular meetings. Some even serve on some committees or join our communities of practice. We have drafted testimony for legislation and made recommendations on employment-related state contracts. We've started a community of practice to support each other in our work. We are supported by our regional and national APSE, who bring us additional communities of practice, trainings, and certifications, networking and collaboration opportunities, and a wealth of resources. We hope that you consider joining our movement. Our meetings are open to everyone. You don't need to be a member. And for more information, please stop by our registration table or visit us online at hawaiiapse.org. Thank you guys. You guys can go. I'm going to introduce the workforce. Thanks so much. I'll pull you back up in a minute. Okay, thanks. I'd like to start today by welcoming Director Bennett Misalucha from the Workforce Development Council. The Workforce Development Council is an attached agency to the State of Hawaii Department of Labor and Industrial Relations. It is a 41-member advisory commission comprised of both public and private sector representatives who are selected by the governor to serve on the basis of their interest and knowledge of workforce development programs in Hawaii. Please join me in welcoming Director Misalucha.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Aloha, good morning. Aloha. I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to describe myself, Patrick. Maybe you can do that later. I'm more self-deprecating, I think, if I do that. Well, he wishes he was here. That sentiment was conveyed by Governor Josh Green to be shared with you, as he also wants me to congratulate you for this important convening. As you know, the governor has a passion for healthcare, for wellness issues, and for employment. And he hopes that the initiatives that come from the summit will lift people with disabilities to lead good, productive lives. I too would like to add my own congratulations to Patrick and his dedicated group of volunteers for putting the second convening together. As you gather as advocates, champions, and allies for those with disabilities, you really are the architects of a more inclusive society where barriers are broken down and opportunities are accessible to all. Allow me to share a similar passion with what we are trying to accomplish at the Workforce Development Council. Patrick said a little something about Workforce Development Council, so let me reiterate. It is the planning and policy advisor to the governor on workforce issues. It is administratively attached to the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, and as Patrick mentioned, it has 41 members. It is the largest, if not one of the largest boards in the state. The governor and 4 mayors, 17 private sector, 8 labor representatives, the UH president, the DOE superintendent, and the directors of relevant government agencies compose this body. In fact, allow me to recognize Leah Diaz, the administrator of the Division of Vocational Rehab. She's right there. And I see Tricia there as well from DLIR. Say hello, Tricia. WDC is federally mandated through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which was WIOA, which was passed by Congress in 2014. One of the special tenets of WIOA is creating opportunities for those populations with barriers to employment. So in order for the state to continue to receive federal funds, we are required to submit a strategic plan. In fact, that strategic plan is due Monday, March 4th. Yes, we have been busy. But in the past, it has been a compliance document, one that you would dust off the shelves every 4 years, and then when it's time again, you do the same thing. But this time, we really want to create a more robust document that would incorporate and align all the stakeholders. Because why? Because at the end of the day, behind the legislation and policies are human beings and families who desire a better life for themselves and their families. It's really about changing hearts and minds. It's about fostering a culture of understanding and acceptance where differences are celebrated, not stigmatized, especially with this group with your unique talents. Remember, the measure of a society is how it treats its most vulnerable members. Thank you for your dedication, your passion, and for your unwavering commitment to creating a more inclusive world. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for inspiring me. Mahalo nui loa. Thank you. Mahalo.
Mahalo for your hard work and your diligence in ensuring the development of an inclusive workforce. We are here today because people with disabilities should be able to work, if they want to, at the same wages and in the same community jobs as us all. This is what Employment First is: real jobs for real pay. The U.S. Department of Labor, Office on Disability Employment Policy, ODEP, you'll hear a lot of acronyms today, so feel free to ask if you don't know. ODEP defines Employment First as an effort taken on by states to change systems and create a reality of meaningful work for all people with disabilities, including people with significant and complex disabilities. Systems change. Why do we need to change systems? What's wrong with what we've been doing? Unfortunately, the vision of equity I spoke of earlier is not realized by everyone in our state. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we're doing a bad job. I see tremendous success in our collective work. I see employment changing lives every day. But people are falling through the cracks, and people are being left behind. There are plenty of statistics that indicate that people with disabilities in Hawaii are unemployed or underemployed, far more than their non-disabled peers. If you compare employment rates for people with disabilities in our state to other states, well, we can do better. Our system faces barriers. Can anybody think of some of those barriers? Feel free to shout them out. Funding. Transportation. Healthcare. Stigma. Housing. Absolutely. I heard stigma. One of my mentors once said to me, "You know what disorder most people with disabilities have? A reputation disorder. The notion that people are incapable because they are different, it's unacceptable. When you find the right person, the right job, it makes business sense." Or how about capacity? How many of you ever wanted services, but you were on a wait list? To my friends at the state, tell me, what's your vacancy rate? What service providers aren't having trouble finding job coaches, service coordinators, direct support professionals? Can't we do something about this? What about having the right tools to do the job? Are we trained on the latest evidence-based practices? And are we continually developing our teams? Do we share a standard set of competencies? Do our government policies and procedures align to support employment outcomes? Are we even tracking the right data to know? Systems change can originate from strategic planning, systems thinking, and design. However, societal shifts only happen through hard work of many teams across the system. Our chapter has come together to face these challenges head-on. Our purpose connects us and drives our collaboration. Together, we work towards equity. Together, we work towards justice. Our state began its Employment First journey in 2016 when we were awarded a multi-year technical assistance contract through the U.S. Department of Labor, ODEP. The Employment First State Leadership Mentor Program brought together stakeholders from the Department of Human Services, Hawaii Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, the Department of Health, Developmental Disabilities Division, Adult and Child and Adolescent Mental Health Divisions, Hawaii DD Council, the Department of Education, and the University of Hawaii Center on Disability Studies. This formed the Employment First Task Force. For years now, this group has been meeting regularly, forging alliances and finding ways to work together across systems. This group drafted a cooperative agreement to allow for greater collaboration and the sharing of resources and information. In 2017, Governor Ige signed a proclamation endorsing Hawaii's designation as an Employment First state. in 2022, legislation was passed making employment first a policy for the states and counties. Last year, in 2023, our state was issued another technical assistance contract from ODEP through the National Expansion of Employment Opportunities Network. We're going to call that one NEON. NEON is what helped us organize last year's summit and training series. In fact, our guests today who will lead discussions are joining us through this contract. It is the work of this task force that brings us here today. I have so much gratitude for each of you, and I would like to recognize you for your efforts. If you can please make your way to the front when I call your name. Julia Althoff. Julia accepted the torch from our dear friend Jesse Floyd upon his retirement and has been representing DD Council as the lead agency of our task force. Julia keeps us organized, coordinates our group, and organizes strategic planning. She also keeps me in line. Julia, thank you so much for your leadership. Allison Lee. I got to know Allison and Cheryl Matthews from Hawaii DVR at the 2022 National APSE Conference in Colorado. A strong commitment to employment first from our VR is crucial in this systems change. I am so grateful for your commitment. Valerie Yin. I also met Valerie at the National APSE Conference. It's really a great conference. Valerie represents the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Division, but also has a background working with DDD. Valerie, thank you for your practical approach to getting things done, and also for sponsoring the summit. Jared Galeai. Jared is the secretary of our Hawaii APSE chapter and the previous leader of the task force. Thank you for your continued service and commitment, and also thank you for helping us navigate that cooperative agreement. Has anybody seen Dr. Heather Chapman from the Department of Education? Not yet, okay. I'm still learning a little bit about the DOE, and I'll always have more and more questions for Dr. Chapman, but I appreciate her initiative towards employment first principles in our education system. Terrific. And Julie Humble, you gotta come all the way from the back. Julie serves as a case manager for DDD, but she does much more. Julie knows about employment and how it can and should work in the DDD system. Thank you for your excitement and passion for employment first. We've asked Julia to please share some updates on the task force and some of the milestones and goals. So I'm going to cue up your presentation.
Okay. So some of you might recognize yourselves on some of these. So I'm going to talk real quick about the Hawaii Employment First Task Force. We refer to it as HEFT a lot of times. So going back to those acronyms that Patrick was talking about. And I put pictures of some of our folks working and doing things. So if you want to say hello to them and ask them about their work, they're here. Some of them, most of them. So tell you about the Hawaii Employment First Task Force. And then Patrick, there we go. Real quick overview of Employment First, tell you who's on the, really I'm gonna talk about the NEON team. Anyone can be a member of the Hawaii Employment First Task Force. So if you're interested in employment, you can grab one of us that was standing up here and we can make sure that you're added to that. A little bit about the history, the lead agency, so that's why I'm talking, because DD Council is the lead agency on the NEON grant that Patrick mentioned earlier. Some of our achievements and some of our goals. Oh, who's on the screen? Why is Employment First important? Employment First promotes inclusivity and equality, enhances employment opportunities, provides economic benefits, improves quality of life, builds a diverse and skilled workforce, complies with federal regulations, right? We're required to do that. Increases community integration, addresses stigma and misconceptions, facilitates skill development and training, and supports long-term success, both for the businesses and for the folks who get the jobs and work at the businesses. On our team, and I thought about this, I got really nervous because I did part of this presentation when I went to a DC conference, but I was the only person from Hawaii at that conference in Washington, DC. And then I realized, oh my gosh, these people are all gonna be here. So if I left anybody out, the NEON group, you just let me know. But you know, we have folks from these various departments. So Department of Education, Division of Developmental Disabilities, DD Council, Department of Vocational Rehab, Department of Labor and Industrial Relations, CAMHD. What's CAMHD stand for, Val? That's right. Yes, thank you for refreshing my memory. Child and Adolescent Mental Health Division. And then APSE, that's hosting the conference. Just a real quick, and I'm not going to go into details on this, but the timeline of Employment First in Hawaii, the milestones, it started all with grassroots support, right? Then we had an executive order from the governor saying that Hawaii is an Employment First state. We got our NEON contract where we have our subject matter experts that help us out with advancing employment first opportunities, and that's through ODEP. We had a statute passed that eliminated sub-minimum wage, and we've done some APSE training statewide. Went to all of the different islands except for Maui because it was right after the fires. But we're going to circle back around to that. And then, and I know this one's a little hard to read, but basically for DD Council to be the lead agency in this, DD Council has agreed to provide administrative support for the NEON thing, be a signatory for the funding, liaise with other departments, and support legislation. And of course, we all do that. And then some overarching goals that we have. And sorry, this screen is real little. I'm looking here. Oh, there we go. So we've got our federal support, ODEP, Office of Disability Employment Policy, supporting us through the NEON contract, National Expansion of Employment Network. National Expansion of Employment Network. And then we've got Communities of Practice. APSE is hosting Communities of Practice for people who provide services and job seekers and that sort of thing. So ask about that. If you'd like to join a community of practice, we can make sure that you get connected. And then we are working towards developing a Hawaii Office of Employment First. Working with our subject matter experts that you will meet to create a strategic plan for the development of that office to advance the Employment First initiatives. Uh-oh. There we go. So thank you. Here's my contact information. Patrick's email is on here. We're kind of the co-chairs of this, and Jared is one of the people, a co-chair, I guess, kind of. We're for Heft, right? Not for the neon. I don't make you come to that. Unless you want to, let me know. But yeah, this is a beautiful picture of Roy, who's here in the front row, and Joshua and Sierra, and their pictures were in here too. So thank you to all of you for listening to me, and thank you to you guys. And I think I'm supposed to introduce Karen. So Karen, if you want to come on up. Karen is one of our subject matter experts. She's a primary subject matter expert that is working with us on our NEON grant. And oh my gosh, all the things you've done, I can't even, so. So thank you for being here.
Yes, thanks.
Your turn.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. My name is Karen Lee, and I'm the CEO of a provider organization in Maryland, Silver Spring, Maryland. And that's my day job. And otherwise, I am the lead subject matter expert. We're called SMEs for the U.S. Department of Labor, Office of Disability Employment Policy on the NEON grant. And I have worked in this field for many, many years, and I understand and appreciate the importance of people being able to belong in their community. And employment is one of the best ways for people to belong. You have a place you have to go, you have a way to contribute, you get feedback from people. It's a great way to belong. So I am here for, and I brought a team of folks from around the country for the NEON project. Hawaii is one of 13 core states that applied for technical assistance. And Hawaii was granted, I believe, 300 hours of technical assistance from the U.S. Department of Labor. So way to go. Last year they had 100. This year they have 300. So we know that we're moving on up. It's the kind of the top tier of support. I've been fortunate enough to work with Patrick and Julia and the rest of the team that was up here, the NEON team, and we've looked at all sorts of really interesting things. We read documents, we read the WIOA work plan. WIOA is what the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act is what funds this NEON project because of employment with people with disabilities, goes through the Department of Labor, and then to the ODEP, the Office of Disability Employment Policy. I work in 3 different states. I work in Oregon right now, in Kentucky, and Hawaii, and don't tell anybody in Kentucky this, but this is a much more fun place to visit, right? So Kentucky's a lot of fun. Oregon's not bad, but, right? If somebody makes you go somewhere, this is the place you want to be made to go, right? So Patrick has this vision with his APSI team for today, for a summit. I've worked on summits in many, many different states and have helped to bring together subject matter experts. So we spent a lot of time listening to Patrick and Julia and the team about what was the message you wanted brought across today? What was the importance of employment for people with disabilities? And so what I heard from them was, we really need to empower self-advocates. We need to be at the grassroots level. We need to be supporting people with disabilities in their own vision of what employment was like. So from that, we were able to create a track for people who are job seekers, who are interested in learning some more about how they actually can propel themselves into an employment situation. And that's what we're going to do today. We also talked about, on the professional track, understanding a variety of different things. We all started off understanding supported employment and what supported employment was. And supported employment is a tried and true technology of helping people with disabilities get jobs and stay employed. But we have some new technologies, fairly new, newer technologies. One is called customized employment, and you're going to hear about that today. And the other is called IPS, or individual placement supports. And you're going to hear, some people are going to hear about that today. So we're bringing the newest, latest, best technologies to Hawaii so that you have the tools and support you need to increase the outcomes of employment for people with disabilities here in Hawaii. So it's a really exciting time. The U.S. Department of Labor, the Office of Disability Employment Policy are thrilled to be represented in supporting not only today, but throughout the course of the year, all of the work that you're doing. So I have brought together a team of who I think are the best and the brightest in the country around these areas, and I'd like to welcome them. I've brought together, and if you think about the components of employment and employment for people with disabilities, and those modern technologies. We have an expert who's with us today, Sandy Reese, on employment or in IPS, or individual placement supports, which is a technology used to support people with mental health and behavioral health support needs. We have brought together somebody who is just an amazing in her own right at supporting people who are non-linguistic, people who use technology, but also who has a really great gift of working with employers. So Jennifer White from Seattle, Washington. And Sandy comes to us today from Portland, Oregon. And another really critical component in the world of employment supports is partnership. Partnership with the employer, partnership with the funding sources, partnership with the job seeker, and the whole group having to come together, and how critical partnership is, and knowing your own community. Your family is a partner in your venture to employment. And so I brought together today with us Steve Blanks from Washington, D.C., who is an expert in helping to develop partnerships. So thank you to Steve for coming. And finally, I brought Tricia Jones-Parkin today with us from Utah State University. And I would say she is the best trainer in customized employment in the country. And I've worked with a lot of them. But we brought her here today to both work on the track with the folks that are going to be doing some of their own personal discovery, as well as to make sure that the professionals in the room understand what customized employment is and how it can be used. And so thank you so much, Patrick and Julia, for having us. This is a great opportunity for us to be able to share with you. Please see any of us all day. Ask us for our contact information. We all have slides, so we'll have, and we'll make sure that Patrick, I think, is going to upload them onto the APSI website, so eventually you'll have access to all of the PowerPoints. If you need any special accommodation in PowerPoints, please let us know. But thank you very much for having us here. We're really excited to help Hawaii to work on increasing employment outcomes for people with disabilities, and know that together as partners in all of this, that we will succeed. So thank you very much. Back to you, Patrick.
So the algorithm somehow brought up one of Derek's comedy specials on YouTube, One Sleepless Night, and it really brought me happiness. I dug a little further the next day and learned the story of his amazing sister, Julie. These two live their lives, and I mean live their lives. Derek Tenent is a comedian and a motivational speaker, and Julie Tenent is an entrepreneur, and they travel around the country spreading their story and joy. We are grateful to have you come so far to our islands and to share your inspiring message. Derek and Julie, would you please help start the day with some encouragement?
So we made sure that Julie's shirt matched the lei. That was the main thing, right?
I didn't plan it that
That's
way.
pretty cool. Well, want to say hi? No, that's not it. That's for recording. This is the one for the loud. So come say hi. I'm Derek, but most people know me as Julie's brother, so I'm going to let... Do you want to tell them who you are and where you came from and all that? Is that good? Here, ready?
I'm short. But my name is Julie Tennant.
Yeah. She can see her feet and her driver's license picture.
No.
I'm just serious. Okay. All right, guys. Tell them where you flew in from.
I flew in from Syracuse, New York, upstate, and we got snow up there.
Yeah, what happened yesterday? Tell them. The temperature yesterday, they broke the records.
Yesterday we broke the record at home, was 67, I think.
And what's happening today?
And it snowed yesterday and today. Good thing I'm here though, right?
Yeah. Needless to say, we're very happy to be in Hawaii. I love that
can't wait
Patrick. Isn't it cool Patrick thanked us for coming all the way to Hawaii?
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It was not a struggle. Thank you. We're so happy to be here, and we're so happy to be on this team, man. When Patrick and I first started talking, because he saw my silly comedy special, at first I was just it was so cool to hear what you were doing and what's happening here. This is just, it's mind-blowing to see all the way everything's coming together to do something so pure and so awesome. So let us be a part of it. I was like, yeah, and then, of course, my agent gets involved and all that kind of thing. Then I find out it's in Hawaii, which we learned quickly. How do you say Hawaii? Remember Charity? How she's...
Hawaii.
we learned we were saying it wrong. It's not Hawaii. It's Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Like Hawaii. So we learned to say it.
I'm funny in my family.
Yeah, Julie's the funny one, by the way.
I learned from you.
Yeah, you learned from me. So we're just so honored to be able to share this day with you guys. And here's what the first thing, and Patrick will tell you, the first thing I said when we started talking, I said, yeah, we want to do this, but understand that this will not be an event for us or a gig, but it's going to be page one of what we hope will be a long relationship. And I mean that. I love what's happening here, and I love that we get to be a part of it. What are you excited about? I'll let you tell them. This is not, we'll do our regular stuff later. This is just fun.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
You're an ad-libber, right?
Sometimes.
Tell them why you're excited to be here.
Actually, it's my first time to be here. I've never been, and I'm glad I'm here.
How many states have you been in?
I think this is 48.
This is 48.
Oh, wait a minute. I am 48.
So we go to one state every year, is that what you're saying?
No. No.
Next year, Montana, right?
I don't know.
Tell them which two we have left.
Montana and New Hampshire.
And actually in April, we have an event in, do you remember?
New Hampshire?
Yeah. In New Hampshire, so that will
Yeah.
be down to just Montana. So if any of the national people know anyone in Montana, a conference we could go to and knock that out, that'd be good. But do you remember what we're talking about? The stuff that we're talking about, how
Yeah.
you got an itch?
I've been itchy.
Are you allergic to purple flowers?
No.
Nice face.
Sorry.
We are 100% brother and sister, if you didn't.
I'm the youngest in the family.
Oh boy.
So they say the best look for last, right?
They had to keep going until they got it right.
Yeah.
I think you saved the best for second, if you ask me. I think that's how it works. But we're gonna share some of our story a little bit later, so I don't want to get into too much of it. But you've had a lot of different jobs, right?
Yeah, I did.
And is it always easy to find a job?
And now it's hard.
Yeah. So we'll just tease it here. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But Julie has a pretty impressive, career with jobs and ways that she's done different things and things that we've experienced that you guys are firsthand at working with. So we're excited to share some of that with you a little bit later today too. And you still itching?
Yeah.
Do you want to take that off?
Do you think it's this, or is it
I
something
don't
else? Is it your
know.
tag on your shirt?
I don't know what it is.
You can take this off.
Do you think it's this?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Take it off and see it.
Ow. Ah.
Let me hold it for you.
What do you say?
Thanks.
So now you're scratching.
Stop.
Mahalo.
Mahalo. Say that.
What does that mean?
Thank you.
Get that. Thank you.
Say mahalo. Say it.
Mahalo.
There you go. And so when
Something weird.
we've been learning a little bit about Hawaii, right? One of the things that one of our silly friends told us, it says, you guys got to be careful when you go there. And I'm like, why? They say, it's a state law that there's no loud laughter allowed in the state law. That's what they told us. They said that they only allow what?
Aloha.
I promise we're funnier than that.
We are.
But we had that just cracked me up. We love those silly kind of jokes. But actually, we can tell them what we're working on a little book of jokes, right?
Right.
We're working on a book of jokes it's silly jokes that you've heard before, like they call them dad jokes, right? But I don't have any kids, so we call them uncle jokes. And they're like dad jokes without all the responsibility. And our goal is to make this book with about 200 or 250 of these jokes, but ones that you haven't heard before. And then we're going to donate it to organizations to have in their lobby. So when people are dealing with some stress of whatever's going on, it's just a little bit of levity, and they'll be the uncle jokes. So we were trying to think of some examples to tell that make sense here. Like, Julie, what is red, messy, and has giant claws?
Slobster.
A slobster.
I was supposed to say you.
Oh, me? And me, apparently.
I was kidding with that.
And what did you do when I told you to stop acting like a flamingo?
Put my foot down.
Again, I promise it gets funnier. These are our silly jokes that we're gonna
Sometimes I go like, put my foot down.
Oh, that's like, yeah, she has hand motions to some of our jokes too, right? Like,
Yeah.
like what do you call a Ferris wheel that's made out of poison ivy?
Spin it.
Spinach.
So speaking to Mike. Oops.
Yeah, that's the mic right there.
No kidding.
Yeah. And what else are you excited about? Tell them anything you want.
I don't know what.
Tell them what we're gonna do tomorrow night.
Go to the beach and then see fireworks.
So we're pretty excited. Yeah, if anyone wants to join us, we have no plan really. We're gonna go out there and find a spot and just watch it. We're told that's the thing to do on Friday nights, right?
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. And we're gonna have a good time sharing with you guys a little bit later, and then we're gonna be here all day. We can't wait. Our favorite part is to connect. I mean, we want to be on this team, really. We're so excited for that, and we're going to be here all day. If there's anything you see that we might be able to, don't touch Julie's shoulder.
That was really fun.
If there's ways that we connect with you over the day that you think we can do something or ways we can partner, please let us know. This is what we're passionate about, and we're just blessed to do it. So we're on your team 100%. Awesome. Thank you guys for what you do. Mahalo.
Mahalo. You can give me one.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Once again, round of applause for Derek and Julie. Thank you so much for joining us. I didn't clear it with my wife, but I think we're going to be going out. We're maybe do a beach barbecue and then watch some fireworks. So if anybody wants to join, contact Riley. He'll jot your name down and we'll coordinate with you. So today we'll break up into groups. For the advocates track, please proceed to the end of the hallway to the purple room. You'll pass all of the food, grab some snacks on your way. Practitioners track will remain in this room. We'll be rearranging some chairs in the transition, so if you can maybe clear some space or be mindful of our movements, that would be great. And for the mental health IPS track, the room is at the top of the stairs. Give us a moment to bring some of these chairs up there. If you're unsure of where to go, please kindly ask anybody wearing a yellow button. Biljana right here is wearing a yellow button. And it looks like we're running a little perfectly on time today. But we did build some time into the schedule for mixing and mingling. So please find the icebreaker cards that are in your blue folder or notebook and learn a little bit about each other. Go and have some fun today. Thank you so much.